This is going to be the chapter 4 OSH management program. Right, so we're going to talk about 7 subtopic, which is about OSH administration and information, OSH inspection and audits, OSH promotion programs, OSH trainings, housekeeping, personal protective equipment, and chemical safety management. So this is what is considered or included within the management programs. So it's all about the programs or activities which are done in management of OSH. So this is actually referred to the chapter 28, David OSH in promoting safety topic. Yeah. So let's have a look at the administration and information. So again, we talk about policy. If we look at the acts, if we look at the safety management, and again in this particular topic, the first begin with the policy, okay, which mean that safety are being published or promoted by the companies by or through the policy. So they need to make a clear safe work practices and expected at all levels at all times are committing to those safety policy lah. So the safety policy serves as the foundation, okay, the base which upon all other promotion efforts are built. So it's all based on the policy. And from legal point of view and employer's obligation, we get the safety rules are summarized as employer must have rules that ensure a safe and healthy workplace, and employer must ensure that all employees have the knowledge about the rules. So this again we have seen previously various kind of safety policy. So just a refresh back on the sample of company safety policy. So we look at this Okaloosa poultry processing, okay, in Florida. So the safety policy is it is the policy of this company and its top management to ensure a safe and healthy workplace for employees, a safe and healthy product for customers, and a safe and healthy environment for the community. So OPP Incorporated is committed to safety and job and of employees are expected to perform their duties with this commitment in mind. Right, so these are one example of safety policy. So based on this policy, it will be all the programs or activities are aligned or are being addressed to this particular policy. So the next is the safety committees itself. So it is also taken from, if you notice, in the chapter of safety legals rules, we are already looked into the safety committees, and in this context of program, meaning that we need a committees to ensure that the activities are ongoing, right? So it is a formal structure through which employees and management can funnel concerns and suggestions about safety health issues. And the most effective committees are those with a broad cross-section of workers representing all departments. Next is incentives. Okay, so incentives is a strategies for enhancing incentive program. So you need a clear definition of objective by deciding what is supposed to be accomplished by the incentive program, and you need to develop specific criteria on what the basis will the incentive be awarded, and make rewards meaningful to your employees or the participants. So you need to determine what types of reward will be meaningful, and the necessity of involving employees to define the meaningfulness of the rewards, and recognize that only employees who will participate in an incentive program and know what will motivate them, and employee must feel it is their very own program. And you need to make the communication clear. So it is very important that the employees understand the whole spectrum of the incentive program and the aspects. So if possible, use non-monetary rewards and often more effective in promoting the desired results. So rewarding team can be more effective than just rewarding an individual. Why? Because work in the modern industrial setting are accomplished in a team rather than individual. So competition definitely next is one way of program being made. So we can go through competition, but the problem is this approach, if you are not monitoring it closely, or the monitoring might be run by any incompetent person, it can basically backfire. It can do more harm than good. You know, people are being more um, possessive, or being more thinking about winning or what, rather than thinking about the objective of the program, which is about safety or learning about safety. So safety and health professional can competitive instinct when trying to motivate employees. Competition on the job should be carefully organized, closely monitored, and strictly controlled. Competition allowed to get out of hand and can lead to cheating, hard feelings among co-workers. Okay, other program that we can have is a company-sponsored wellness program. So in this is basically um, back in 1980s, an innovation where they start to promote safety and health uh, in company-sponsored wellness program. So this is being in experiment in US industry in 1980s. So the company sponsored a wellness program lah. So a typical wellness program include diet and exercise under supervision of an appropriately qualified professional, and it also includes stress management activities and special activities to help high-risk employees overcome lifestyle-related behaviors such as smoking and overeating. And basically this corporate wellness do works, and participant um, shows improvement in their health and also the quality of life, and they can save their money while generating the goodwill. Okay, meaning that the person became more motivated, then they have a trust, or they have a better relationship with their employers, who appreciate or would like them to be more healthy at work or at their lifestyle lah. So the good news is that the number of companies who offer the wellness program have steadily increasing, but the problem is participation. Okay, the participation is low. Okay, the next activities or program related is OSH inspection and audits. So I think this is common for everyone who have already experienced in working, where you are being audited either once a year or twice a year. Okay, so you need to sit down together with the auditors and prepare all the documentation, prepare all the files, the evidences that are going to be checked, so that if you pass the audit, you will be um, granted some mission standards, or the DOSH um, require you to be audited in a particular times lah. Yeah? So the objective of audits is, of course, you like to monitor the practices of the OSH system and procedures to identify any non-compliances. Okay, so non-conformance. So it's not the idea of audit is just to search for mistakes or wrongdoings, but definitely these activities will ensure that all of your process or operation are running in safety manners lah. Okay, so deviations, any SOP have been not being run accordingly, any substandard practices, or you do things just for the sake of finishing any activities, okay, melepaskan batu di tangga, maknanya are not being done completely, and work condition and risk assessment hazards. Sometimes people, you as an internal person, you do not see all these things, but if somebody from outside coming in, they can help you, they can assist you, they can consult you on what you can do better. So that is the point of audit lah. So it also ensure that you comply to all the laws, and of course help you to minimize accidents. So what types of inspection that are normally done is informal inspection. So informal inspection, they can be daily, everybody can do it, and at workstation. So the next type of inspection is done based on plan or detailed inspection. So this is usually done periodically, done by OSH team and done at the common areas. So the next inspection is critical generic inspection. This is within usually once in 2 years, done by consultants. They can also look at not just within, they can also look at the air condition or the air monitoring. They can also look at the noise monitoring. So that will be the critical generic inspection. So OSH promotion program, among them including the employee participation promoting safety. So one of the keys of promoting safety successfully is to involve employees who usually know better than anyone where hazard exists. So they are also the ones who must follow safety rules. And then one of the most effective strategies for getting employees to involve or commit to the safety program is to get them to involve in the development of the program themselves. So must be implemented, must be monitored, and must be followed up. So in Malaysia, we have so many OSH trainings being offered by NEOS lah usually, and other training consultants ataupun companies. So for example, like this one is actually in 2015. If you Google, you can find more examples of training of OSH. Okay, just need to prepare some course, of course. You can also up to a certified level of trainings. You can have diplomas, you can have CGL and any formal type of training. Okay, so training, of course, is one of the best way to promote safety in workplace, and it must be ongoing based lah. Money, you cannot just run one time and that's it for a person. You must run time by time. You don't need to wait something to happen. You don't need to wait for audit to come. So you just immediately or plan well your safety training, okay, based on the budget that you have, of course. And initial safety training should be part of orientation process. Of course, whenever people coming in or newly introduced to the organization, you start induction by emphasizing on safety lah. For example, like if you are a person you just interviewed and then you are accepted to work at the new companies, usually the safety officer will brief you about the safety process, how to exit, how to evacuate, where is the location of hazardous or risks which usually occur. So that is the kind of induction that should be mentioned to new people coming in. And then subsequent safety training should be aimed at developing new, more specific and more in-depth knowledge, at renewing and updating existing knowledge. So that is the purpose of subsequent or other frequent safety training. Right. Next activities that are usually introduced and related to safety is housekeeping. So you might see 5S, you might see 6S, and now I think in governmental they start to introduce EXA, right? So or any name that actually do the housekeeping. Housekeeping ni apa? Kemas lah, aktiviti mengemas. So if you go through this particular list, the objective of housekeeping is to keep a workplace neat, clean and tidy all the times. If you go to certain company like Japanese, they are very particular about their cleanliness, about being tidy all the time. So hence you will heard the name 5S usually. In UiTM are also championing 5S. So how tidy are they? If you look at the some example which I show later, the arrangement of things are all being drawn up. Okay, they have the lines, they have the name, the labeling, all are there. Why? It's not just for decoration purpose, but is to communicate with the person who are there, to understand that certain spaces are being named because of those things that should be there, or named to be meant in the particular box is there. If it's not, it must be somewhere else. It indicates that the place is not tidy. So that's the concept for 5S lah. So to instill basic responsibility into the workers as part of the job and personal responsibility at workplace. So that's why you see some area they have PIC or person in charge. So they put the face there and the number, the phone numbers of the person. So you know that if there's a toilet or if there is a store, who exactly handling or ensuring the or take charge of that particular space. So the advantages of good housekeeping, of course, it can help to minimize accidents. So usually you can look at some projects, they show before and after the project. Before, it's usually things are messed up, things are mixed, things are not in order. So after, usually we see much more better arrangement. um, all things which are the same size are put in same boxes, for example. So those are the advantages after you have good housekeeping. So it definitely improve the conducive workplace. Okay, people have better morale, people will feel more safe and comfortable. Improve processes, of course. When you start to isolate things at the middle of the road or aisles, you have better access to anywhere. Minimize work hazards such as slip falls and fire congestion near miss. Of course, you have better image of company. Foster better human relation with clean working environment. So plan, carry out housekeeping program periodically. Okay, usually some companies they do every Friday, some company do once a month. So it must be designed, must be planned and executed, and everybody must commit to these particular activities. So carry out housekeeping program on scheduled basis and motivate housekeeping as this is the cheapest OSH program. Okay, murah lah, kita minta orang kemas je. There's no huge costs that, okay, but of course you need to spend some for buying the boxes, buy the labeling system kan. So housekeeping techniques, famous in Japan is 5S: Siri, Seiton, Seiso, Shiketsu, and Shitsuka. So Siri is about strategize and organize. So plan to arrange, strategize the design and layout, and when the frequency of use, and make sure that it easily accessible. So Seiton means neatness, where it is the concept of place for everything and everything has its place. This is just what I mentioned before, that you ensure that the place have labels and those things under the label, for example like phone in a box, and then the phone must be in that particular area. So use of standard files, so all the files must be standardized. They shouldn't have large or small, which is not standardized. If it's 7-inch thick and A4 size paper, all must be standardized. And color codes, um, different department might use different color codes, and must be well labeled, must be indiced very well, which means they should have the numbering or the order of the filing, same exact atau same shape. Okay, if you are using a square or rectangle one, it must be the same shape and also the same size. CISO or cleaning, all cleaning activities: sweep, wipe, dusting, scrubbing, vacuum, brushing, oiling, lubricating, waxing, adjustment, and alignments. So Siketsu or standardize, establish frequency, duration, and regular time, standard operating procedure for all level of workers at all workplace and offices. And Shitsuke is self-discipline, whereby it means that a person must have his own self-discipline. So make it as part of the job or routines. It must be self-driven, and of course we like to have your workers who are not, you must tell them every time that you need to clean up. So it's better if they are self-driven, maknanya dia buat sendiri lah, tak payah nak suruh-suruh kan. So that's better lah. So before start work and end of shift day, before start you clean up, and when you finish you clean up. So similar to 5S, we have 6S. Okay, so this is 6S is lean workspace. I believe it is much more to be introduced by the Westerners lah. So the word is sort, set in order, shine, standardize, sustain, and safety. Alright. Okay, next is by using the visual awareness. So making a safety health message visual can be an effective way to get the message across. So several rule of thumbs can help ensure the effectiveness of effort to make safety visual. For example, change sign, poster, and other visual aids periodically. Maknanya if you have posters at your workplace, make sure that it is changed from time to time, because visual aids, if you left too long, it can blend into the background. Maknanya orang dah biasa tengok, lama-lama dia dah tak nampak dah that particular. If you change, you will notice the difference of colours. For example, mula nampak biasa merah kan, lama-lama tengok dia dah jadi background tu. So you will notice that if you change from time to time, you will notice that is changes being made, and definitely that will help people to aware or alert on the changes and the message behind that particular poster. So involve employees in developing message that are displayed on sign and poster. Make visual aids large enough to be seen easily for reasonable distance, and locate aids for maximum effect. Okay. Use color whenever possible to attract attention, and follow OSHA color standard where applicable. So these are the usual OSHA punya color code. So hijau, for example, fire assembly point, first aid point. So they are using green. So any things which are red, it indicates that no. Usually ada merah tu main no lah, tak boleh. No parking, no smoking, no unauthorized tu semua red. And if yellow, it's just to alert danger. For example, danger construction site, danger. So that is will be in yellow. So blue indicates that you need to use certain protection equipment. Okay, use helmet, use respirator, use glove, use high jacket, and use boots. So those are blue. Okay, next program is PPE program. It's also considered as a program. Why? Because you need people to involve. It can make as a program lah. It's not a program per se because it's a protective equipment. So sometimes people are not atau tend to ignore PPEs ataupun protective equipment. So you need to promote them to ensure that they use it all the time. By the way, it's also included in various section of OSHA Act, Section 15, Section 24. It is actually the legality, it is the written by law that people must use PPE when it is provided lah. So it's also included in the management control of risk management control. Okay, so kita put as program. Why? Sometimes people tend to ignore it lah. So kena promote pula kan. So of course we need to remind people why we need to use PPE, sebab nak protect body, to protect against hazard. Okay, kat mana do this hazard rise at work, head and neck protection, face eye protection, ear protection, all body protection lah, senang ceritanya kan. Okay, last program is the chemical safety program. This is not a exact program, but definitely an awareness that people need to know that this is under the compliance to OSH, which is the Classification, Packaging and Labeling Hazardous Chemical Regulation. Ataupun kalau internationally you have USECH Regulation 2000. Alhamdulillah. Chemical handling procedure, how to receive, handling and transferring and decanting processes, and the use of cleaning, spraying, wiping, and how you going to store chemical products. So what kind of condition, the ventilation, segregation and disposal, and labeling of chemical and store inventory master list, spill kits, wash kits. So ni more to if you are in industry which have chemicals. Okay, so definitely you need to understand well on the handling of chemicals. So these are the components included, which is the how to handle and also the procedure of storing it. So in chemical punya program, there is this document which is known as the Material Safety Data Sheet ataupun MSDS. So it's a document which contains the information of chemicals that you are handling. So dalam MSDS, surat MSDS ni, it provides 15 properties of chemical, which include the name of the product, common name, technical name dia, trade name dia, the who produce it, the suppliers and the creation of the chemicals, the composition, which is the ingredient, the chemical physiological properties, bermakna apa isi kandungan dalam that chemical. Toxicological properties, maknanya kalau tahap keteracunan lah, toksiknya lah. And then 6, hazard identification description. So if this particular chemical are hazardous, so it will tell you in the MSDS. And it also tell you what will be the action that you, or response that you need to do when is there anything happen. The first aid measures. It tells you about the how you should handle the product. Should you use a tank? Should you use a glove? Should you use any other protection equipment? And 9 is how you should store the chemicals. Okay, it is mentioned in the MSDS. And what will be the PPE requirement or the protective equipment that you should use. And then next is the OSH requirement that you need to comply related to the chemicals. 12 is the ecological properties. Okay, what will be the effect of this particular chemical if it is exposed or being thrown in the ocean or in the environment. Next is how you should dispose the chemicals. Okay, because most chemical, if it is a scheduled waste, it cannot be thrown in your commercial or in your domestic dustbin. You tak boleh buang carbon ke apa ke dalam tong sampah macam biasa suka hati, tak boleh. There should be a right way to dispose. Okay, that's why if you go, ataupun if you one day if you are working, we see that some waste, some materials, if it's going to be disposed, they need to be checked what kind of item through this particular material safety data sheet, and it will tell you how you should dispose it. And then next is transportation requirements, how you should transport them. You can use whether you can use a normal lorry or you need to use some special tanks or whole refrigerated truckings, for example. And then also the date of the chemical safety. So these are the 15 information that you're going to find out in an MSDS documents. Okay, so this is just the same thing, 15 things which I have explained. So let's just take a look on how example. Hope this is the example. Okay, this is actually a guideline on how to produce for the manufacturers lah, and then the details of some examples of chemicals. For example, here organic. Okay, these are the details, and these are, yeah, this is the empty, the blank MSDS, and the next one will be an example of an MSDS lah. So just click the link to read further about this particular documents. So far, this thing has never came out in any exam of OPM538 yet. So probably I'm not sure if the resource person going to put up this one in your final test lah. Not sure about that. So basically that's all that you need to learn about this particular topic. So with that, thank you very much for your kind attention, and wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you everyone.